What made you want to create Green Grows Farm?
Well, the school version is that, there was a need. It was a supply and demand thing, and my partner Tom and I really just were wondering why better fresh produce wasn't available. We were eating at a restaurant, and we've got this horrible tomato in the middle of summer, and we just started talking about it, and next thing I knew, I had a farm.
Okay. What is your mission
As me or at Greensboro?
at Greensboro?
At Greensboro. Abandoned land and facilities and buildings to make in ways that are green and that tie into the community to make cities more livable places.
Why are local foods better to purchase?
Because you keep the money in the community.
In the community, yeah, that's
Yes.
absolutely true. I think that they're not always necessarily better, but I think that you have you have that ownership. You have some say in what's being grown and how it's being grown, and that's a big deal. I mean, we just have discovered that in the last couple of years as people start to realize, the chickens and the eggs and everything's got all these antibiotics in it and hormones that nobody ever mentioned, and then you're like, well, I don't want all that crap in my food. I mean, if I need to take antibiotics, I'll take them, but I'd like it to be my decision. And so the only way that you're going to have that is by having this right of ownership of what's produced around you. And, I mean, it's great for the local economy. It's great for the regional economy. It's great for real estate prices out on the main line. Keeps taxes down.
What does it mean to hydroponically grow crops?
Well, hydroponically, it's rooted of two words. Hydro means water, and ponic means work. And together it means, in our case, at Greensboro, the land here was used, it had a previous industrial reuse. And so what we were looking at was ways that we could grow and grow a really great fresh crop, but not have it be in the soil. And so hydroponics lets you use water as the base instead of soil, and you add nutrients to that water, and the plants are fed what they want with the additional nutrients. It's kind of like you drinking a glass of water and me giving you vitamins. You don't necessarily need to have pizza and cheeseburgers. It's nice if you have pizza and cheeseburgers, but you don't absolutely have to have that. So it's a way of controlling some of the environment around the stuff that you're trying to grow.
Okay. How do you compost your waste?
Well, in a number of ways. I'm actually at the moment the chief composter, and so I'm intimately involved in this question. We have two levels of compost, and I think you're referring to our food waste, which is a huge issue all over the world. And what we produce a very, very, very large volume of compost, which could be something that we would have to pay to get hauled away, and then we wouldn't have anything except the piece of paper that the bill came on. But instead what we do is we compost through two different methodologies, one of them being vermicomposting, which means with worms, and we feed all of the compost to the worms, and the worms eat it, and then quite frankly they poop it out into their own waste, and that waste is filled with all sorts of great positive microbials that you then add to the soil, and it refreshes the soil that you're growing the crop in. So you're creating this cyclical of how the things work. And the other way, the long-term way, is just we have pallets that we've made into big boxes, and we load the produce into that, and the eggshells and coffee grounds and all that other stuff, and then newspaper shreds, and we have a lot of cabinet makers around here, and they have a lot of wood dust shavings, and so we add that, and over time you create this anaerobic activity, and when it reaches a certain temperature, everything starts to break down, and then after a couple of months you can use that the same way. You use it in your garden, you can refresh your soil with it. So one of them is a little faster process, but it's a little more hands-on. It takes more being willing to get your fingernails dirty.
Okay. What is a green roof and what is its purpose?
A green roof is just exactly what it says. It's a roof that you, hopefully, if you have sense, have looked at the technical aspects of, because a green roof can often be heavier than a regular roof. And you use plants, different kinds of plants, and certain plants do better than others. You establish a barrier on the roof so that water can't get in and the roots don't grow into the substructure of your roof. And then you grow plants in the roof. And one of the reasons that you do that is that takes when it rains, it naturally waters this garden. And green roofs eat pollution in the air, airborne particulate matter. They also absorb some of the sounds. There's what we call sound pollution, particularly in cities, and they act as kind of a cushion, and the sound all goes into the green roofs. So in our case, we also use green roofs on top of our walk-in refrigerators, and what that does is it provides cooling. It drops the temperature about 5 to 7 degrees, which means that we use less energy to keep the refrigerators cool.
What kind of gas does the Green Scare truck use?
Well, that's interesting. I was just talking to one of our biodiesel guys. We do make our own biodiesel here, which is made out of basically French fry grease, which is so it's a renewable resource gas. We also have vehicles that run on regular gas that you get at the Sunoco station or wherever. But we try to use biodiesel in place of diesel because it's that cyclical thing. We're taking waste and we're making it into a product, and then we're using that truck to go out to the farms to get the food, bring the food back in, give it to people, and create then we take away their waste